Let's talk about target audience today. So, audience is really, really important when you are creating some kind of media or any kind of writing, or really anytime that you are trying to communicate with somebody and get them to react to you in a positive manner. Okay. So our objectives today are we want to be able to define what a target audience is by the time we're finished, and we want to identify the target audience in a series of advertisements. So we're going to go through 3 of them together, and then there will be 3 that you will do for homework on your own. A target audience is a particular group of people at which a piece of media is aimed. One reason media makers consider a target audience is to determine what kind of people would be most likely to respond positively to the message. So, for example, if you're going to try to sell Barbie dolls, you're going to try to appeal to the type of people who already want to buy Barbie dolls, probably going to be little girls, okay? On the flip side, another reason media makers consider a target audience is to persuade the people who are unlikely to willingly receive the message. So when you want to persuade somebody, we discussed last week that you're not going to persuade the people who already agree with you. You want to persuade the people who don't agree with you. So you need to know your audience, okay? And corporations and media makers of all kinds spend a lot of time and money trying to figure out who the audience is and what that audience will respond to, so that they can use the best possible techniques to change their minds. All right? So audience is whoever that media is aimed at, whoever we're trying to convince to do something or to buy something or to believe something. So when we look at target audience, we look at what they call demographics. Okay, little word lesson for you. Demo means people and graph means to write or to draw. So when you look at demographics, what you're looking at is kind of a picture of the people that you're dealing with. So in general, media makers consider this type of information. They consider gender or sex. Okay, so is it somebody young, somebody middle-aged? Is it a teenager? Is it a small child? Is it an elderly person? They look at profession because people will have certain preferences and beliefs based upon the kind of work that they do. They look at location, where people live. Oftentimes, where people live has a huge impact on how they feel and think and do things. You're not going to, try to sell pool stuff in the middle of winter to somebody who lives in Northern Ohio, right? You're going to try to sell that kind of stuff to somebody who lives somewhere like Southern California, where it's always warm. Income level, education level, how much money do they have? How long did they go to school? All those things affect how people think and feel. And marital status. Believe it or not, whether or not somebody is married has an impact on how they will think about the world. So when we are looking at some ads today, first of all, I want you to consider the following 4 questions for each of these ads. And these are the same 4 questions I'm going to ask you to think about in your activity for today. Who is the target audience? How do we know? Why is that the chosen target audience? And what strategies does the media maker use to connect with the audience? So we want to think back to our persuasive strategies from last week. When you are watching the videos that I've uploaded later for homework, if you click on the video and it tells you you cannot access it, all you need to do is go down here and click on the Safe YouTube link and you'll be able to see it there. So let's start with Minions.
Thank you. Is that cool?
Choosing milk isn't just fun, it's also really good for you. And for even more fun, you can get apple slices and a mini minion of your very own. From the new movie Despicable Me 2, rated PG in your McDonald's Happy Meal.
Okay, so in this ad, when we consider the target audience, I would say there's kind of two things going on here. One, you have little kids, right? Because little kids have Happy Meals, little kids want Happy Meals, little kids love Minions. So I might say my target audience is little kids. But if you kind of listened toward the middle there, they also said you can get milk or apple slices with your Happy Meal. And that's not really meant to appeal to the children. That's meant to appeal to the parents. Okay, so you have multiple audiences here. You have the kids who are going to be like, yay, Minions toys, I want my Happy Meal. And then you have the parent who's like, oh, that's such junk. But I guess I can make an exception if instead of fries and a pop, my kid can have apple slices and milk, okay? So we know, how do we know those are the target audiences? One is because, we know cartoony things usually appeal to small children. We also know that milk and apples, milk and fruit, appeal to adults, okay? Why is that the chosen target audience? Well, why do we have two audiences here? Let's think about this. Kids love junk food. Parents are busy, tired, but they still want their kids to eat healthy. So we've decided, okay, we're going to appeal to both of those demographics so that we can get whole families to come in, so that we can get, little kids can't come in by themselves, okay? So they need the parent to also be on board. So that's why they have to appeal to both the children and the adults. And what strategies does the media maker use to connect to this audience? What kind of persuasive techniques would you say they're using? Those are the kinds of things I want you to think about with each of your slides following this lesson, okay? So like if we watch this again, let's see if we can come up with one. And you may need to watch more than once.
Choosing milk isn't just fun, it's also really good for you. And for even more fun, you can get apple slices and a mini minion of your very own.
I think you can kind of say that they're using bandwagon technique because they talk about how much fun it is. Okay, it's fun to eat healthy and it's fun to have Minion toys. I would call that a bandwagon propaganda because everybody else is having fun. You should have fun too. So consider those things as well when you do your assignment. So here's an oldie but goodie. This is the Life Call I've Fallen and I Can't Get Up commercial. This one is from the late 1980s, okay? And I chose it, it's a little bit corny and a lot dated, but I chose it because it definitely has a very clear target audience. Let's watch.
Recently, when I became deathly ill, I was able to summon an ambulance, my next door neighbor, my family, and my doctor without picking up a telephone. I used this remote control to contact LifeCall, my 24-hour emergency medical response service. Watch. Just press this button and speak to the air and...
I'm having chest pain.
I'm calling paramedics and your family, Mr. Miller.
I'm falling, and I can't get up.
We're sending help immediately, Mrs. Fletcher.
See? Protect yourself with LifeCall and you're never alone. To get complete free information by mail about this affordable medical emergency response system, call toll-free now. LifeCall can save your life, so call to get free details by mail right away.
For free information about LifeCall, call 1-800-872.
All right, so the clear strategies that they're using to connect with the audience here, the clear strategies are pathos, that emotional appeal, right? That fear of what would happen if I fell in the middle of the night and I was an old person all by myself, living alone, and I could not reach a phone. And remember that this ad was made before everybody had cell phones. So you would have actually had to be able to physically get up and walk to wherever the phone was attached to a wall, climb up to the wall and get the phone, okay? So our target audience here is definitely going to be an elderly audience, or not necessarily elderly, but definitely sick, okay? Somebody who has some kind of an illness that could put them in danger if they're by themselves. But almost every single person in this ad who needed the LifeCall system was old. So I'm going to say that it is appealing to an elderly audience. How do we know? Well, for one thing, because almost everybody in the commercial was elderly. And two, because younger people don't have these kinds of problems typically, okay? These are problems that come with age, health problems that come with age. And why is that the chosen target audience? Because these people wanted to sell a system that was going to appeal to somebody who might be all alone and unable to help themselves, okay? So this was the perfect audience for them to choose to sell their product to. This last one it's almost a little bit of a tearjerker. The puppy gets me, okay? So this one is a Budweiser commercial. It's called Someone Waits at Home, or Someone Waits for You, if I recall. Let's take a look.
Welcome home, buddy. You and me, we were made for love. A lifetime is not long enough to show you what you mean to me. Ooh, I'll be right here for you when you come home to me. I'll see you later, buddy. Sorry. I decided I shouldn't drive home last night. I stayed a day. When you come home, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, so this is clearly an ad that uses pathos, that emotional appeal, starting with the puppy, right? And you also have that cliffhanger there in the middle where they make you think that the guy died in a drunk driving accident, because they're like, oh, well, for some, the waiting never ends. And you think, oh, that poor puppy, he's going to be there all by himself and he can't get out and he can't eat. And somebody come help that poor puppy. So it's definitely using a lot of emotional appeal, right? Our target audience, I would say it's going to be anybody who is a drinker, but if you look at the people in this ad, they are all probably in their 20s. They're probably 20-somethings. So younger people, in particular younger men, are more likely to engage in risk-taking behavior, such as drinking and driving, than other groups. So if you want to get real specific about it, I would say that's our most clear target audience there, our most specific one, at least. All right, so how do we know all the things I just said? Okay, because we see mostly young men in this commercial. We see that they are consuming alcohol throughout the entire commercial. You know, there is no need to have a drunk driving ad for people who don't drink, because they're not going to drink anyway, okay? And why is that the chosen target audience? Well, one, because it's not only illegal, but incredibly unsafe to drink and drive. So you want to try to convince people who are consumers of alcohol that they should not drink. The other thing is, this just makes Budweiser look like a good guy. Okay, one of their new tags in the last few years has been drink responsibly. So they still want to sell their beer, but they also want to make it look like they're not a bad guy if somebody misuses their product. Okay, so it's kind of like they're trying to save face. So why do we choose that audience? One, because, you know, that's the kind of audience that this beer is going to appeal to. And two, because Budweiser just really, really wants to keep selling to them and still look like a good guy. Okay, so there's a lot going on here in all of these commercials. And I've been doing this for a long time, right? I've been looking at this kind of thing for a very long time. So, and I'm really old compared to you. So I have a lot more life experience. So I'm going to see things that maybe you don't notice or you don't know. But I don't want you to worry about that. What I want you to worry about is, what do you know? What do you notice? Okay? So here's the activity that you're going to do today. I'm going to give you 3 advertisements, 3 commercials. I want you to investigate each and answer the corresponding questions on each slide. So I've given you 3 ads. I've given you Dorito Monster. If it will not play for you, click and watch it here. I have given you this Dove shampoo ad. Again, if it will not play for you, watch it here. And a Samsung Galaxy ad. If it won't play, click here. Okay, so that is your assignment for today. Please make sure that you get it done on time so that you don't fall behind. And then our next assignment is going to combine our persuasive techniques with audience. So be ready to put all of the things together that we have been talking about over the past week and a half. Good luck. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.